Assalamu alaikum. In this video, inshallah, I will be explaining how we can use Android to connect with PHP web services that are connected to Microsoft MySQL database server. So we will be following a set of steps. I already put them on e-learning site, as you know. We will be downloading the XAMPP server, the very first thing. In step 2, we will be activating this XAMPP solution or software. XAMPP will allow me to have web server, PHP, and MySQL server all together. And then in the third step, we will be creating a database along with putting the PHP pages. And then after this, we will be connecting from the Android application. I will go through these steps, inshallah, in detail. So let's start. The very first step is to go and search online. As you see here, I just did XAMPP download. The very first link offers me with XAMPP downloads options for Windows. There is equivalent one for Linux. So download one for Windows or Linux, whatever is convenient for you, depending on your system. So now next is, after I download this software can be started. This is XAMPP, here it is. The XAMPP window is somewhere in here on my system. It's already started. I'm just waiting for this to start. Here it is. So the very first thing, that make sure you activate the web server, which is the Apache module that comes with XAMPP, and also make sure you activate the database server, which is MySQL in this case. Notice that the Apache server, depending on your system configuration, because my system Windows already has another web server active on port 80, so that's why I have the system automatically selected a different port, which is 8080. That's why I will be using this each time I connect to this web server. In your case, I might be connecting to the default web port, which is port 80, and this other one, by the way, for 43 is the HTTPS port. So one is for HTTP, one is for HTTPS port. Okay, now what's next? Next is, so I started this, and I started the database server. Now this automatically, once you install, it will automatically create a default installation for you. This will be usually at the C. Let me open the C drive, just 1 second. If you go to C, and there is this XAMPP folder that will be created, and inside XAMPP there will be a folder called htdocs. So where that folder is, it will be somewhere here. 1 second. For whatever reason, can't see it. Here it is, htdocs. So now this will be the default location for your web pages. Now I'm just going to give you an example. Imagine I create a simple web page. I will make, let's say, test.html, and in that page I will edit using Notepad++. I'm just going to put anything. Just put header, this is a test, and I'm going to store this. So now how do I access the web server website? I open the default, which is depending on the port. In my case it was 8080, so I will say localhost 8080. Now remember, I named the page test.html. So here it is, this is a test. This is just to verify that everything is working fine and great. You have no issues in the connectivity. Okay, so now what's next? Next, now I need to access the web, the database that comes with it, and this happens by going to the same path, localhost, whatever port you have, and it will come with this PHP myadmin / The minute you do that, it will simply open the PHP myadmin, where you can start creating the databases and manage the database tables, data, and so on. Now, in our example, what we have is simply we want to be creating a simple database that we will accessing from our Android application. So how can we do that? Let's just start from the beginning. I will assume I don't have this database that I will be using for exercising, which is the Android Hive. So what I will do is I'll go SQL. I'll say drop database, and I'm just going to say drop Android Hive. Okay, so I will execute this command. Now, if I refresh, I no longer have this Android Hive. So in your case, this is going to be fresh, no databases. So this is what I want you to follow. First you say new, create a new database called Android Hive. Okay, here it is. I hit create. If I refresh, here it is, Android Hive. It's empty, nothing in it, no tables. So what are we supposed to do? We need to do the following next. I have given you a file. This file has the sample code. So three things: the database you're supposed to be creating, which is the Android Hive, the PHP pages, and the Android application. Now for the database, I already have the database script ready for you. So all what you have to do is just select all, copy, and now come back to the My PHP admin. Make sure you select this database, hit SQL, create, paste the code. This is the code I have in the file, and I just hit go. If everything is okay, what we're supposed to have, if we refresh, now I have a table called products. This table is created by the script I just ran. And if you get into the code, you could see it. It has this table products that it's being created in this database. Here it is. Product ID, name, price, and so on, with sample data information, as you can see in here. So this is what the table is all about. Now, so now the database is ready. So let's move to the next step. Next step is we need to make sure the PHP pages also are activated in the appropriate way. Now, the database example I have mentioned, it's very simple database example. It just has one table with sets of records, just to demonstrate the concept. So now what we have here is we have multiple database examples, and let's just, PHP pages. Let's just take an example about the very first one, which is the one about creating a product. This create product page, if I open the code for this, you would see that this is a traditional PHP code. Of course, this video is not about to teach you how to do PHP programming, but it's more about showing you how to connect Android to PHP. So I will do a very quick demonstration of the PHP page. So here what we have is we have a simple page that will be receiving three values that represent the name, the price, and the description of a product. So it is testing that these parameters have been sent, and here we're receiving them via post. We have two options, as we all know, post and get, and post is kind of more secure. So we're receiving them via post, and we will show you how you can send post or get from Android. Now it's saying here like if these three parameters are set, means they have values. I'm receiving them and storing them inside three parameters, three variables: name, price, and description. This is PHP syntax. Now, before I am able to store this information that I received inside the database, I need to make a connection with the database. And the way how we make connection with the database is we kind of include another PHP file that will prepare this connection. So as you could see here, require once, this will kind of include this file, db connect. So let's see this file, which is db connect. Here we go. db connect will actually create the database connection. So as we see in here in database in db connect, it is the one that will define a class called dbConnect. It has a constructor, destructor. The constructor will call method connect. Here is method connect. Method connect will include another file, which is dbconfig in here. And this file is very simple. It doesn't have a lot of info. It's the file that defines the configurations for connecting to the MySQL database. The default username when you install is root, no password. The database that you want to connect to, which is the one we just created. And the IP address of the server where the database is located at. If it happened to be local, you use localhost. If it happened to be a different server, then you put the IP address of that server. Okay, so going back to the dbConnect, this connect will simply create a connection by receiving those DB server, user, and password that we defined in here. And if all is good, then I can simply deal with this connection parameter moving forward. Notice that the connect returns the connection, which means if it's successfully executed, I will have this connection variable that I will be using all the time to simply access the database. Okay, now going back to create product, so I included this and I created the database connection. Now here, what I will be doing, remember, I'm back to the create product PHP page, which is the one that received the name, price, and description. So if the database is connected all fine, now we are about to start talking to the database, and here is the very first command that will interact with this database, which is an insert into command. This is a traditional SQL command for inserting data into a table. So here what we have is simply running an insert into command into the products table. And as you could see, the values that we define and store in these three variables, I am receiving and putting inside the values section of the insert command. So whatever you receive, as we see here, I received three values. I am putting them inside the insert into command. Now, and I'm executing the command. As soon as I'm saying MySQL underscore query, it will be actually executing this. And the result will be one of two. If all is good, if this returns true, that means I'm preparing a response saying success equals 1. Now, this response is something that you're formulating. We're returning the response via JSON. So we're creating a response variable, and inside this variable we are defining two keys. One key is the success, another key is the message. The success, we have one of two statuses. One is 1 for good and 0 for bad, means didn't go through well. And we're also putting the appropriate message just to indicate when successful or there was an error during the creation. Now, to make sure the response gets back in JSON format, we use this command, echo JSON underscore encode. It's being encoded as from traditional PHP variable back into a JSON format, because the Android application will be using JSON parser to process this specific response. Okay, so this is pretty much it. Of course, here if there was an error in any one of the parameters, this else will basically kick off and means there's an error here. We're saying that the field is missing. So this is kind of response to the end user, like in the Android side. If he missed supplying one of the parameters, then we are kind of telling the user to do that. Okay, this just shows one page, and all the PHP pages we will demonstrate kind of employ the same idea. Now, notice what I will be doing. This same page, now going back to my web server, which is the one that has hdocs, I created a subfolder in it. I called it Android. Here it is. Now, the same pages are there. And this is the one I just was going over, which is create product, just to demonstrate this. As you see, it's the same one. It's connecting to the same database, same everything. Okay, now, so what's next? Next, I want to see how can I open my Android application and talk to this specific web page. So here, going back to Android, now here is the application we're working on. This application is given to you, this Android app. So what we have is, if you look in here, this application has these classes. One of them is called JSON parser. This is done for you. You don't have to worry about it. It is the one that will be able to parse JSON file. Now, also pay attention to that there are libraries that I have included. I'm going to make sure those libraries are also included as well. For you, maybe you want to take this project and just make your customizations to it to make it simpler. Otherwise, you have to import those libraries, those jar files appropriately. Okay, so what's next? Next is we want to be focused on how we can add a product. This is the new product activity. And the new product activity, maybe if we go through it, just demonstrate it very quick. This activity connects to a layout called activity new product. Let's pull this and see it on the screen. Here it is. So I will hit design so we could see it. This product simply receives the parameters we just discussed, the item, description, the price. Just wait a few seconds, it should show up. Here it is. So if I zoom in, we will see this is a product name, price description, and create product. So this activity I'm in, simply it's for that screen. We grab these three values from the screen, the name, price, description, and then here is the create new product button. It has this listener. Let's pay attention to what this listener does. This listener uses a specific async task, and as we can see, this async task, which is named create new product, will be receiving three parameters, the ones we just grabbed, the input name, price, and description. So this async task will be doing the following. It will first open a dialog just to give the user an indication about what's happening, because this might be a little bit time consuming. So it will create the product. So it will actually show a message that it's about to create the product. Then after that, we'll move quickly to the do in background method. Now the strings that we sent that are the name, price, and description will be actually coming to the do in background method. And as you could see, that args is an array of these three strings. So here I'm grabbing them back. This is name, price, description, args of 0, 1, and 2. The ones I sent right in here. Okay. Now, how do I specify that I'll be talking to a page and sending parameters? I will use a hash map class, and I'm creating a variable called parameters, and I will be putting these three parameters: name, price, description. Pay attention to that. Very important. Going back to the PHP page. Remember, we said that we will be receiving them as name, price, description. What you have in here has to match 100% what you have in here. So I need three parameters. I will be sending three. They are named name, price, description. It has to be precisely name, price, description, and you cannot even change the case of the letter. It has to be, it's case sensitive. Okay, that's great. Now what's next? Next, now this Android app will be talking to this page. How is that? It will be using the JSON parser make HTTP requests command. And notice this URL create product will be simply the URL string defined at the top. Now this has to be the IP address of where the web server is running. Now let me show you one thing. I am currently running on a local network connected to this access point. So I will be opening the command prompt to get what's my IP address. This is my Wi-Fi adapter. This is my IP. See the IP? So I'm going to grab this and change this to be to the one that's in the screen. And remember, I'm using the same path because I put my create product inside the Android subfolder. So I have to be exact and precise about that. Okay, all is great so far. You want to make sure, by the way, if you're testing this in your PC local, you want to make sure the Wi-Fi, the firewall is turned off. If you have an antivirus, you want to make sure that also is turned off. It's not blocking the phone from coming to your PC. So here in my case, if I just double check, I will be looking at the Windows firewall. I already have it turned off just for this exercise. Or you need to add a rule to allow such traffic to come. And also I have the antivirus Bitdefender. If it's blocking, I want to make sure I'll turn it. I'll kind of disable this. Okay, we will see how it goes. If I'm denied, I will stop it. Okay, now let's go to the next step. We want to run this app just to test this feature, which is the new product activity. And for that, I have here my phone running. I'm connecting this. This is my phone. So what I will do is I will run this app. Let's just hit compile and see how it goes. Now, if all goes well, it should run into here. By the way, the mobile phone I'm having here is also connected to the same Wi-Fi because I'm doing the whole test local. Okay, of course, you could do the whole thing online. In this case, you will have a public IP instead of a private IP or even a domain name. Here it is. It's telling me to run this on the phone. I hit OK. It's running on the phone. So let's see how it goes. Okay, here is my app. I want to do the add new product. I will be just doing a demo. Let's say I will call first item is, for instance, Dell laptop. For instance, 700. Let's say we'll make the price of it 800. And description. For the description, I'm just going to be putting anything. This is a test. Now I will hit create a new product. If all goes well, it should create the product without causing any issue. Okay, let's just see. It caused this crash. It could be because of connectivity issues. But let's check our database though first. Before we do that, let's check our database. I'm going to refresh because I didn't change the IP address for the other one. This one is showing how many records. Okay. Just want to make sure it's showing records. Okay. So now I think it has to do with the antivirus. It's blocking this. So it's good exercise that you see it. I'm just gonna block this. And even the firewall protection, if I can stop it. I'm just gonna change everything for now. Okay, I think the firewall is completely off now after turning everything off. Okay, now that's one thing. I mean, it's good to see this failure because you want to see what things could go wrong in your app. Since I have other pages such as all activities also is referencing the old IP, I want to put the new IP as well. I want to make sure this is the same for all the pages, even the edit. I think it is there multiple times. Sorry. And here is this one. And even if a failure happens, we will debug it. That's fine. Okay, I'm running this app again. So let's just see how it goes. Go ahead, okay. Okay, we can test the view products first if it succeeds or not. Okay, that means it's good now. The firewall issue is gone. Let me do this again. Add a new product. Let's just add something else. Del, as I said, whatever, 700 or 7,000. Just put any price, any description, and let's just hit create product. Now notice it went fine, and here we could verify this just by looking at our database. We just want to refresh. Here it is, Dell 7000, the price 100, the description with all A's. So it shows how we were able to successfully connect to our basically database. So going back to the create new product, we were able to do this in background. Make this request to that URL. The URL, just going backward one more time. This is the one that references the create product page. And I sent to it the parameters, and I asked post option, not get option. Now remember, the response that comes back will be stored in JSON object, and I can check this response. Remember, we have one or two options. Either it will return success 1 or success 0. 1 means it's great, all went fine. 0 means we have an issue. If everything is back okay, here what I'm doing is simply I'm activating the other activity, which is all product activity. This all products activity, simply what it does, it creates another request, but instead of going to create product, it goes to get all products page. This page is different, as instead of creating product, it retrieves what exists. So maybe if we go through that page just very quick, let's just go and take a look at it. This one is get all products. This one, if you notice, it starts the same thing, includes the database connection, create database object, do this and that. Now, instead of doing insert command, it's doing, as you could see, select star from products command. And what happens is the response, instead of coming as just we want to do 0 or 1, we need to get data here. So what we're doing here is the result here, I'm scanning through it. I'm creating a response that has products array, and in this array I will be adding row by row. So here what I'll do is I'm fetching the result rows, because it will be retrieving whatever number of rows you have, and to get them row by row, I'm using MySQL fetch array result, and it will give me this row by row. And as long as I have rows, each time I will be pulling from the row the product ID, name, price, and storing them in the product array. And in this case, I will be populating this response products array with multiple rows. And then at the end, I am doing two things. I'm saying the success is 1, and I'm putting the response back all into, as you could see, JSON. So this response will basically be having two things: products and success. Success just one value, 1 or 0, and products will be an array of all the rows that have the data. So now, if I go back to the Android application, I will be doing pretty much exactly the same. I will be in the button, I will be calling an async task, and that async task, as we can see, will be pulling the data and putting all of this inside the here is the async task. Load all products. It will be as we could see, calling this URL. This time get or post doesn't matter, because we're not sending any data. And this is how we are actually able to pull all the products. Notice the products class is defined in here. The products is defined here. Sorry, it's a JSON array. And what we will be doing is simply we're scanning through the rows one by one. Notice here I'm saying loop through the products array, which is JSON array, So from 0 to less than length. And now I'm getting JSON object. Now each one of these JSON objects will be representing one product. I'm not getting everything, I'm only getting the product ID and name. Notice those are strings defined at the top. The PID is just the column name PID and the tag name, column name. So this is how I'm able to pull these two things, and now what I'm doing is I am simply adding these to the list I'm having. You could scan through the rest before, because this is just traditional list view without the need to go through any complexity in here. Now, so this is the example. Of course, I didn't show the edit and delete. The idea is the same. The idea is the same. What's the difference? The difference is that the edit, instead of doing select star, it will be update command. The delete, it will be delete command. You can go through this example on your own. Thank you very much for listening.